Hello, Suns fans. This is Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin. As of this recording, 704 Sunscribers. See, if you subscribe to Suns Latest, you're not just a subscriber, you're a Sunscriber. And that is special. No, appreciate you signing up. And thank you to Fan Arch for giving us the old platform. All right, so quote of the day. Pressure is something you feel when you don't know what the hell you're doing. That is from Peyton Manning, who displayed that in 2015 at the Super Bowl. When the Broncos got shellacked by the Seattle Seahawks. By the third play, Peyton didn't know what he was doing. And it was really hard to watch because at the time, huge Peyton Manning fan, and I'd lived in Denver for a bunch of years, and I was a huge Bronco fan. Went to a bunch of games. Got to see Peyton Manning play when he was a Colt against the Broncos in Denver. And it was hard to see a guy who you just absolutely loved and thought was, invincible get punched in the mouth and not know how to handle pressure. He didn't really talk about it, came back a few years later and did win a Super Bowl with the Broncos. But pressure is a real thing. And I'm not 100% in agreement with the quote, but I've seen instances of, I don't know what I'm doing, and then that's pressure. I've had instances of, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I felt pressure. I think all athletes go through that, and if you talk about the greatest athletes of all time, they talk about losing, they talk about failing, they talk about things they could have done better, and they talk about, the pressure got to me in that moment, or I screwed up. The greatest athletes ever. It's a very real thing, but it's a good thing to remember, going back to preparation is the essence of intelligence. Another, not very smart the way I said that, a quote from the actor and comedian Steve Martin. And you want to alleviate the pressure, come prepared. So here's some news, and it's just something that popped in my head. Cameron Payne, Russell Westbrook, and Malcolm Brogdon, all veteran point guards, all guys that could have possibly brought something to the Suns. We discussed we discussed Brody and we discussed Turbo. We didn't discuss Malcolm Brogdon until one of you commented on, like, hey, what do you think about Malcolm Brogdon? I'm like, that was so weird. He never came up, and he was a really serviceable point guard. So it sounded like, at least in the offseason, maybe we should get one of these guys. Definitely Cameron Payne a few weeks ago when he seemed to be available. But Turbo just hooked up with the Pacers and will for sure get some playing time. Halliburton's out for the year, and McConnell just went down with, guess what? A hamstring injury, and he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. Brody just signed with the Kings. I'm happy for Russell Westbrook. I always like the idea of a giant superstar, former MVP on the Suns, but look what would happen with KD. And former Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man of the Year, Malcolm Brogdon, who the Suns never targeted, but was always in the back of my head and some of yours. And he was a lock to make the Knicks' regular season roster. He just retired out of nowhere. So after the preseason and having Steve Nash on board as a senior advisor, did you notice that Jared Butler found himself wide open for a lot of threes in the last preseason game against the Lakers? Did anyone notice Butler and Goodwin slowly, methodically freezing the defense with hesitation drives or really fast burn-you roadrunner drives to the basket? No. Freezing the defense, getting layups. I wonder who taught them that. I think we're going to be okay at point guard for the moment. At least to start the season. We'll see how it goes. But right now, we should all be feeling pretty good about our point guard situation. And Colin Gillespie was sat for the last game. He didn't have the most impressive preseason, but he's the kind of glue guy. He is still targeted right now as the main point guard off the bench. We'll see. We definitely have a logjam, and we're going to get to that in the comments. Jalen Green didn't play in the preseason. He's going to miss the season opener against the Kings on the 22nd, coming right up, and most likely a solid 10 to 20 days. I think he's going to be out longer. Aggravated a hamstring. Re-aggravated it before the team went to China, but he went to China. He'll be reevaluated in 10 days, so there's nothing to talk about with Jalen Green. He'll be out for a while. Hamstrings never really go away. Just ask Devin Booker. Coach Ott said, quote, obviously it's frustrating, but this is all part of it. Thankfully, we caught it early. It's not that serious, but he wants to be out there. Of course he wants to be out there. New teammates, new system. There's just other ways we're going to have to speed him up. That's the reality of it. He did a great job in China hanging in there with us. So I have a feeling Jalen Green's probably pretty happy to be out of Houston in a new situation. It's just a guess, but I'm thinking a young player who, I don't want to say he wore out his welcome in Houston. I will say that he maybe Just wasn't what they were looking for, and they let him go for Kevin Durant. It's not like they just dumped him. Okay, they used him as a trade guy. So I don't know. Hey, we don't know what we have in Jalen Green. We know what we've seen. We still don't know what we really have. Mark Williams is the Suns' starting center in theory as of now, but he is scheduled to start in the season opener coming right up. So he missed the entire preseason. The Suns say that he is on an intentional plan to prepare for the start of the season. Hear it out. He's been practicing 5-on-5s regularly. The Suns are clearly making double dog sure that Williams is 100% ready to go. The training staff is just monitoring the hell out of this guy. And I think it's a pretty smart move considering Williams' weird injury history. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, think about how well we did in the preseason. And then think about the fact that 2 projected starters didn't even play, and we still don't even know what we have. I know it's the preseason, but these young guys, as a lot of you have mentioned in the comments, look pretty fun. And it looks like it's going to be a fun season. And many have mentioned it's going to be a fun and frustrating season, but I'm into it. All right, comments from you at Metallica. The Suns suddenly have a heart again. It's what happens when you get a lot of young, hungry guys together and a new coach and a whole new system and a new GM and an owner who's basically, other than renaming the arena for one of his companies, backing off. And by necessity, he has to back off. He doesn't have any money right now. Dagoon R, as an OG Suns fan, I'm hesitant to get overexcited, though I do like what I'm seeing so far. That seems to be the theme. We're hesitant. We're not sure. It's going to be frustrating, but we all seem to like what we are seeing so far. Real quick, before I forget, Rasheer Fleming had one of those quiet, non-box score games. Blocked shots, not afraid to take the three, filled passing lanes, did incredible facilitating in a short amount of time. Rasheer Fleming is a gamer, baby. Going back to Dagoon R, our players are engaged, working hard, seem to like the coach, seem to like each other. I'll take a team with chemistry over whatever the hell happened last year. Excellent. Steve Postero, how are you, man? I've been a Suns fan for 57 years, just like you. We're old. I've got to admit, I feel excited this year. I'm really psyched for a new coach and the youth. Go Suns. Dustin6301, loved watching our young guys. Curious Mind 2525, hello, sir. Damn, the Suns beat 3 Lakers starters with a team made up of third team, two-way, G League, and Exhibit 10 contracts. That's something to be happy about. Coach Ott and his staff need to be commended on the system they put in place. Defensive schemes, defensive system. The Suns players need to be commended on how they bought into the system. No more ISO. It will be hard to stay so physical. Young guys can stay physical longer than you think they can. There will be players missing games due to the wear and tear, but I see promise in relying on these backups to fill in when needed. I said it earlier, but we'll repeat it again. The Suns do not need to trade for a point guard. I've completely backed off of that, and you are 100% right. They already have them on the roster. Goodwin and Butler will both stay with the Suns this season. I got nothing, man. You nailed it. BYB Boxing, do we think that if we had Nash his whole career, we might have won a title? Steve Nash ended up as the top 15 player of all time, the number 1 greatest Phoenix Sun of all time. Barkley had the greatest single season in Suns history. Nash had the greatest prolonged career in Suns history and rivaled Barkley for, I don't know, his first 3 seasons with the Suns. You could get it there. If he had gotten to the finals, Nash would, no doubt, even have the greatest single season. We got Steve Nash when he was peaking. I know he was 30. I know it seemed like he had hit his limit with the Mavericks. We talked about this. Bad luck and complete BS kept us out of the finals in 2007 against that Horry Popovich Spurs situation. But we had momentum. No one, that was the first time the Spurs got scared in the playoffs. That's why Popovich sent Horry in to check Nash into the scores table, because we had never had a controversy like that. Not all season, not in the playoffs. It hurts to say it was a smart move. It wasn't sportsmanlike. It was very un-Popovich-like. And Robert Horry hated the Suns, and he was happy to do it. But we had all the momentum. The Spurs were scared, and the rest of the league was scared. The Suns were the best team in the league that year, and they didn't handle it well. They also got absolutely gypped. It was complete crap that Stoudemire got, and Dio got suspended after that for getting off the bench, because Duncan had done it earlier. I'm a broken record. We were the best team that year. We were the champs that year. No one can tell me different. Copper Tom 1967. If I haven't said hello to you, Copper Tom 1967, hello, and thank you for joining. So who do we keep, Butler or Goodwin? We keep both. Technically combo guards, and they have improved so much. We didn't. I don't even know if Jared Butler had room for improvement. He didn't even play last year. He's just always been injured. So we don't. Nobody knew what Butler was. We knew what his potential was. We knew what he could do, but nobody knew what kind of player he was. We got to see it this preseason, and Goodwin clearly has improved, and he's not a tentative offensive player anymore. Jared Butler is on a 1-year, $2.4 million non-guaranteed Exhibit 9 contract. We've gone over the 9 and the 10. There is no standard G League fallback if he does not make the main roster, so he can stay for 54 regular season games, also play for the Suns in the G League. It's the perfect contract for a guy like Butler who clearly understands his contract, and that is why he balled out in the last preseason game. I have a feeling the Suns are just going to stick with him. That's what we got so far. There's no guarantees, but there's no rumblings either. When there's nothing being said about the guys that might have been on the fence as far as, on the bubble as far as coming in, staying on the team. Not talking about it now. Andrew Ruiz, how are you, man? The way you talk about Westy is how I always talk about Steve Nash, my favorite ever. I can't say that Westy's my favorite ever. I think I get so passionate about talking about Westfall is because he's underrated as far as superstars go, and he doesn't get talked about in superstar realms. And Westfall, and I've said it, and I've commented people, and people who've said they disagree and Westfall wasn't that good. It's like, dude, Westfall could be dropped in right now in his prime and run over the freaking league and be first team All-NBA. I'm not going to take your arguments on that one. That is how freaking good Paul Westfall was. Thank you for your comments. Always remember to sign up and be a Sunscriber to Suns Latest, and I always read your comments, and I will always have back and forth with you. It's a pleasure. It's really cool to do that. All right, so we're back to the Hustlers edition of Legend of the Day. This is one nobody remembers. I said I was going to do Hustlers, and I mentioned this guy. He only played 1 year for the Suns, but I remember him because he was 6'1", he was 180 pounds, and he shouldn't have made the impact that he did. There's a guy, and this is him. His name is Ted McClain, and his nickname was the Hound out of Tennessee, and then it became Hound Dog because for his size, he played so big. He was a phenomenal defensive player. Ted, Hound Dog McClain. Someone added the dog part later in his career. I don't know who. Most outstanding player of the 1970 NCAA tournament, originally drafted by the Hawks in 71 and by the Carolina Cougars of the ABA. McClain opted for the ABA. 8 years as a pro between the ABA and the NBA. Hound Dog played for the Cougars, the Kentucky Colonels. He won a title with the Kentucky Colonels of the ABA, and the New York Nets. Put a pin in that. I'm going to circle back. Denver Nuggets he played with when the Nuggets shifted to the NBA. Played for the Sixers, played for the Buffalo Braves, and now the Los Angeles Clippers. And his last year as a pro was with the Suns in 1979. The Nets, here's the pin. The Nets were still the New York Nets when they got to the NBA after the merger. They were still the New York Nets. The following year, they became the New Jersey Nets. In 74, McClain was an ABA All-Star, and he was known for his tough-nosed defense. He was never known for a scorer, and it wasn't expected of him, but he could defend both guard positions. He could even defend small forward, despite being only 6'1", because the nickname gives it to you. Absolute dog, in your face, in your grill, frustrated the crap out of guys, and just had this motor and so much heart. And I loved a guy like him. A modern-day guy would have been prime Avery Bradley, even though Bradley was taller. Didn't look like much, but Avery Bradley was a top defender in his prime in the NBA, and Hound Dog was just like that, just shorter. Crazy energy, improved the team's defense wherever he went, as tough as they come. Never let anyone get by him. Hustled so hard. You just love the Hound Dog. Didn't back down from anyone. Really good teammate. There are people in Kentucky to this day who are really old, who swear that the Colonels would not have won the ABA title if not for Ted McClain. And they had Artis Gilmore. They had a dominant center. I got to see him play live. He was a dog. Ted Hound Dog McClain is your Suns Hustler Legend of the Day. Thank you for watching Suns Latest. Somebody just commented on Bo Outlaw, and I remembered Stephen Hunter. So we might do them as the Suns Hustlers Legend of the Day. Appreciate you watching. Take care.